Imagine if you could build an entire team of AI employees that were like top C-suite executives. I'm talking sales and marketing, email marketing, content creation, financial advisor, legal advisor, even a virtual assistant. If you could have all of those people that were an exceptional level on your team, how much would your business grow? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can build an entire team of AI employees across all of those things: sales and marketing, content creation, legal, financial, everything. And each one is trained specifically for that role and for your business with your brand voice. By the end of this video, you are going to have a full team, fully dedicated to your business, fully trained on everything that makes your business unique, all for less than $20 a month. Now, this isn't one of those basic videos where I just give you a brief overview, but then I hold all the good stuff back. I'm going to be giving you everything today. I'm leaving nothing on the table. And I'm also going to be giving you all of my resources and my templates and my guides, things that I use in my business every single day and the things that have enabled me to build a 7-figure business. I've been crafting these over the last 10 years and I'm giving it all to you today for free. So if you're new to my channel and you know nothing about me, my background doesn't make really a lot of sense for what I'm doing right now. My background is actually as a professional dancer. That was always the plan. I have no background in tech whatsoever. But at the height of my career, I got injured and I really didn't know what to do. So I started just playing around. I started working for Apple for a little bit, and that's where I really got to learn how to break down tech in a really simple way. I'd get Cliff that was coming in to reset his Apple ID for like the 9th time. And I really learned how to talk through stuff in a really simple way. And I realized I got a little bit of a knack for that. Then I started a social marketing company and I grew that to multi 7 figures. We were doing about $250,000 a month at the time. And then the pandemic hit and my business completely fell apart. So when I started again, I started coaching people how to create digital products online. And I realized that so many people were getting stuck with the tech. Like, they had a passion, they had things that they wanted to share with people. But when it came to building the funnels and the emails and putting all the tech together, they just got stuck. And I was thinking, there is so many messages that need to get out there, but everyone is getting held back by the tech. So that's when I created Made for More AI. That is my own software. And really, I just wanted to give all of my templates and all of my assets that I've spent years building, and I wanted to be able to give them to my clients so that they could have this kind of done for you, automation tool where they could just plug their business into it and get their voice out of there. So that's really where that started. And then from there, we created our agency because so many people just wanted it done for them. But the most important part of my story is that I'm a mum of 2. I've got a 5-year-old and I've got a 3-year-old. Now, any mums or any parents out there know that it is a lot with kids that age. They are like crazy baby dinosaurs just running around and causing chaos everywhere. And I run my business around them. And the reason why I'm able to do that is all because of automation and AI. When I really started learning the power of AI and the power of automation, I realized that I could actually play the same game as these massive corporations, as these massive businesses, because I didn't need to do the same as them. I didn't need to have this massive team of people and these big offices in London. I could actually build what I wanted to build from home, and with my team all over the world, and with these AI tools and these automations. So this is what I'm super passionate about teaching you today. I really want to help you build a business which has the vision and the goals of everything that you want, but you're able to do it in a really simplistic way and leverage the power of AI. Okay, so before we get into the meat and potatoes of the training, there's a couple of things that I want you to do. The first thing is to like this video and save it. Now, this isn't for a vanity metric, but this is a really long training and it's a really thorough training as well. So this might not be the perfect time for you to watch this video. And this isn't going to be a video where you watch it once and you're like, ta-da, I've got it. And then you just go. This is something that you're going to come back to all the time. So if you download it, it means that you can come back. If you haven't got Wi-Fi, if you're sitting on the train, if you've got a little bit of time that you can waste, then you can be watching that and going through it again. So make sure that you like and download this video. The second thing is that I really want to know who I'm speaking to. So if you comment below and let me know where you are at in your business. So are you a startup? Are you a scale up? Are you scaling up your business right now? Or are you looking to exit your business right now? Let me know whereabouts you are in your journey and let me know what your niche is as well. So 3 things I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me, first of all, your name. Second of all, where you are in your business, startup, scale up, exit. And also what your business is and what the biggest thing that you're struggling with right now. That would be really, really helpful for the future videos that I'm going to create for you. And lastly, I put together a snazzy little PDF prompt guide for you. So I'm going to be giving you loads of prompts throughout this entire video. So what I want you to do is in the description or a button below, there'll be a link where you can get the download. So you can download that, you can follow along with me in real time. That's every single prompt that I'm going to use in there. You can just copy and paste it and put it into your own ChatGPT, so you don't need to research them or go scouring around to find them. So if you've clicked on this video, I'm going to bet one thing about you. You are struggling with the time-strapped founder syndrome. That is basically what, 90% of entrepreneurs are facing right now. And I've definitely experienced that in my own business. And it's where you're wearing all of the hats. You're doing the content creation. You're trying to post on your social media. If you're a service-based business, you're trying to deal with the clients and you're in the inbox all the time, dealing with their requests. You wake up first thing in the morning and the first thing you think about is your work, and not really in a good way. You're like, I've got so much to do. And you're trying to do so much. And there's many reasons for that. Sometimes if you're early on, it might be because you don't have the budget to hire more people. And so you need all these things done in your business, but can't really hire the people to do it. Or it may even be, if you're later on in your business, that you're maybe struggling with the control of letting go. And I see this all the time with founders that I work with. They actually do have big teams and they do have a lot of people that they're paying, but they really struggle with letting go of that control because they're not doing it in the way that they want to do it. So this time-strapped founder problem is a really big issue for a lot of people. And this is really what I want to help you with today. I want to help you get your time back and get you and your team members back in the roles that are actually tailored to your skill set. There is no point, if you're a super creative person, being stuck in all of these admin tasks. There is no point, if you're not a detail orientated person, being stuck in tasks that require loads of detail and you're making loads of mistakes. So this is about getting you out of the weeds, getting you back into the places where it is in your zone of genius, and getting your team to do the same. Now look, loads of the stuff that I'm going to tell you today, you probably know already. Everything that I've just said then, you know that that's the reality of your business. And I know that you've been wanting to do something about it for a long time. But the reality is, when you are in survival mode in your business, it's so hard to get out and try new things and learn new things. So I really want this video to be, once and for all, we get this nailed and you can start moving forward in a much more positive way. And I'm sure you've been curious about AI. AI is everywhere. And maybe you're feeling a little bit of resistance to it. Maybe that's because you don't understand it. A lot of the time, actually, the reason why people aren't getting started with AI and really diving into this massive, massive opportunity is not because they don't believe in it, it's because they don't believe in themselves. So really what I want to do in this video is empower you to have the confidence and the knowledge to just get started and to just dive in and be part of this massive game that is being played right now, because it is a huge opportunity and it allows you to play on the same level as these massive big corporations or the competition that you really want to be like or you really want to play against. It allows you to play the same game as them. So I'm super excited to dive into all of this good fun stuff. We are going to have it's going to be a roller coaster. We're going to be doing a lot. I'm going to be in my full nerd zone and I'm super excited to dive in. Okay, so let's address some of the common things that I hear from my clients and people that I speak to all the time when it comes to AI and automation. Number one is that people think that this is just for, these bigger companies. And, I'm just a small company. It's just me and a virtual assistant. What is this going to do for me? But what's happened with AI is that it's leveled the playing field. We now have access to all of the same tools. The same tools that Apple and Google are using, we now have access to as our little one-man band businesses sat at home in our bedroom. How cool is that? So don't think that this is just for those big companies. If anything, this is actually more for you. This gives you more leverage. It gives you more time. It gives you more manpower and enables you to have this kind of massive team around you without having a big payroll. So this is absolutely not just for those big companies. It's absolutely for you too. The second thing I hear is that AI is going to replace human jobs. The reality is, let's be real about it, it 100% is going to replace jobs. However, there is something that you can do about that. If you're in a job right now, or you are in your business is feeling threatened by the pace at which AI is coming in, then you need to change your attitude towards it. I truly believe that the people that have a shift in their mindset and the shift in their attitude towards AI are the ones that are going to come out on top. So instead of thinking, this used to be my role and this was my skill set, and now AI can do that much cheaper and much faster, think, okay, there is a tool that enables me to do my job so much faster and so much easier, I'm going to become a master at that tool. It's those people that become masters at using the tools that are available to them that are going to come out on top, and they're going to be hugely successful, because the reality is there are still many, many people that, even though there's so many tools that can help them do something, they still don't want to learn how to do the tools. So if you become a master of implementing the AI and using it, you still become really valuable. The third thing that I hear all the time is that you need to be super techie to be in AI or to use AI. Now, I told you before that I was a dancer. I did not come from the world of tech or anything like that. But what I am is super curious, and I want you to have that same attitude as well. Don't worry about getting it wrong. Don't worry about following a blueprint or reading a book or, doing it exactly as people say. Just be curious. So one of the questions that I always say to myself is, I wonder if AI could do this. If you ask yourself that on a daily basis, and then you go and try and find out if it can do that, you're going to go down a whole rabbit hole, because AI is going to guide you down it. So for example, if I say, I wonder if AI could do XYZ, I'm going to go on to ChatGPT, I'm going to ask that question, and then AI is going to guide me. It's going to say, would you like me to do this for you? Have you thought about this? And then before you know it, you are getting to the result that you wanted, and you don't even know how you got there. So just be curious. Don't worry about it being techie. The beauty of AI is that you can do so much now with no coding skills, no tech skills. It's all conversational. So if you can have a conversation in the same way that you would speak to someone, if you had a consultant come into your room and you paid them a whole day rate and you said, and they were an expert in something, speak to AI in the same way that you would speak to that person. Just ask loads of questions, and then the AI will guide you through it. Don't worry about not being techie. The fourth thing I hear is that AI will make mistakes and it can't be trusted. Now, AI will make mistakes. Whenever you ask something, AI does have these things called hallucinations, and hallucinations are where it's gathered the information from the internet or all of its resources, and there is a gap in its knowledge, exactly like humans. Even if you hired someone on your team, there is going to be multiple gaps in their knowledge, and sometimes they're just going to bullshit their way through an answer. They're going to be like, yeah, that's the answer to that, and you know that it's a lie. So it's no different with AI. However, AI learns much faster. So if you go back and you say, that's incorrect, where did you get that resource from, and ask it to share the resources it's using to give you that knowledge, then you can know whether that answer can be trusted or not. So just think of it, not that it's black or white, trust it or don't trust it. There's always going to be gaps, but as long as you keep going back and keep testing it and saying, is that correct? Can you tell me more? Where did you get that resource from? Then you're going to get the answer that you want. And lastly, this is probably the biggest thing that I hear all the time. People say, if I use AI and automation, my business is going to feel robotic. Now, what I'm going to teach you today is actually not about removing humans from the entire process. What I'm going to teach you today is going to enable you to move the humans that you do have in your business back into the roles that actually add value. So for example, if I've got a customer service rep and they're in my business and they're spending most of their time sitting on emails, doing all of this stuff that's really not engaging with people, that's not where I want them. I want my sales reps and my customer service reps and people on my team to be with my customers, having valuable conversations. So what it actually does is removes people from the admin stuff and gets them more into those human interactions. If you have that mindset and you think, instead of trying to automate absolutely everything, I'm just going to automate all the things that don't really add value and don't really require that human touch, then I can move people more into those human spaces, and we're going to get a much more humanized approach to this whole automation process. So when any new technology comes around, there is always a little bit of a process that it goes through. So I want to talk you through that right now. So I've got this little chart right here. Excuse my toddler writing. But what we've got here is the rate at which technology is improving and advancing here, and then the speed of adoption here. So this is how quickly people actually get on board with it and start implementing it. Now, what is happening right now is that the rate of technology is going up like this. We are seeing technology grow at a speed that we've never seen before. It's crazy. Then what actually happens is you have a group of people that start off, and these are the early adopters. These are the people that are, really on the cutting edge. They're the ones that as soon as that new tech comes out, they're on it and they're implementing it straight away. And then what happens is you reach this point where gradually people who didn't adopt it early on, people who didn't get on board and start learning how that technology works, they start tailing off. And then what actually happens is you have this situation here where the gap between where technology is and where people's knowledge is too big. So these people over here, the people that didn't get on board straight away and the people that were even just a little bit late to adopting the technology, they are now so far away from where technology is that the jump is too big. So these people find themselves really lost. Now, just to give you an idea of where we are at right now, we are here. We are at a really crucial stage. AI is moving faster than anyone could imagine, and what it's enabling us to do is moving at a faster rate than anyone could imagine. And so the people that don't really get on board with this now are going to find themselves very quickly in this position here, where they are in this kind of slow adopters phase, and they're going to find themselves right here where the gap is too big. So that's what this video is all about. I really want to help you be one of these people right here. So instead of tailing off, you can actually start coming up at the same rate as technology. You know, you can start learning and adapting it and utilizing it at the same rate so that you're always going to stay relevant. So the reason I'm so excited about AI is that AI enables us to work as if we have the power of 20 or 100 people on our team, but with the effort of only one. If I was to take 30 steps right now, if I said to you, just take 30 steps right in front of you, you would probably get from here to the other side of the street. Whereas when you have AI, it's almost like every step that you take doubles, because the effort, you're able to leverage these tools and you're able to get so much output from each step that you take. So instead of just getting 30 steps across the street, you can actually get 26 times around the earth with the same effort that would take 30 steps. So this is why it's such a cool thing to get on board with and why it's such an exciting time, because you can put in so much less effort and get such a bigger output from it. So talking about AI employees and why this is so relevant to your business and why I'm really, really passionate about putting this video together for you is because this doesn't just change how you work. It doesn't just change, you know, your day to day and the kind of things that you do. It actually changes the entire profitability of your business, because the entire structure of your business also changes. So say, for example, you are here, you are the CEO right now. Now, even if you've got a small business, you know, you don't have a big organization, if you've got a small business, I'm talking to you right now, you are still going to have people that need to fill certain roles. So in terms of even just for marketing, you are going to have a social media manager. You're probably also going to have some kind of like funnel or website builder. You're probably also going to have some kind of VA. You may even have a copywriter. God, my writing is awful. You may also have an email marketing expert. And then you might have a bookkeeper as well. Now, these are just small businesses. This is nothing crazy. This is no massive team, big marketing department or anything like that. But all of these people need to get paid. So if you think about how much you're going to be paying all of these people, I don't know, I'm not the best person at maths. I'm not going to pretend like I am. So let's just pretend that all of these people are getting paid 30K. Depending on where you live, depending on the size of your business, it's going to be different, but they're getting paid an amount of money. So 30K for each of those people, that is 3, 6, 9, 12, 150, 180 grand is going out per year on building this team of people. Whereas now with AI agents, you can either replace these people or have them do a lot less. So you don't need to be paying them so much. And that's really what I'm going to be talking to you about today. Do we need a VA? Possibly not. Do we need someone to be doing your email marketing? Absolutely not. Do we need someone to be doing your copywriting? Absolutely not. Do we need someone to be doing your bookkeeping? No. So I'm going to be diving in today to see how we can start to eliminate some of these roles that you need in your business. And instead of having, 6 different people doing these roles, you could have one person managing all of these roles. You could hire someone who isn't necessarily a specialist in all of these areas, but their job is to manage the AI agents. So it means that you can hire in a very different way. You're not having to hire the expert copywriter and the expert email marketer. You're hiring someone who is just good with the AI tools. So let's dive into it. I'm going to be showing you step by step. As I said, this is not an overview. This is not something where I'm just going to be, showing you a little blueprint of what you can do. We're going to be building these in real time together. So If you're not on your laptop already, grab your laptop, maybe get me on the phone on the side, and we're going to be doing this together. So let's dive in. Okay, so to do this, we're going to be using an LLM. An LLM is a large language model. I'm sure you've used this before. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, there's loads of them out there. Now, different LLMs are good for different reasons. I find ChatGPT the most kind of all-encompassing. You can do lots of things on there. And in terms of AI agents, I personally find ChatGPT the best. Claude, I would tend to use for like copywriting. I find that Claude has a little bit more emotional intelligence in the way that it writes, and there's a bit more of kind of a psychology built into it. So the outputs for copywriting I find better on Claude. However, if you train ChatGPT properly, you can still get those good outputs. There's loads of different ones, but for today, we're going to be starting with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, you need to have the paid version, but you can just have the basic paid version. So it's $20 a month. You don't need to go for like the $200 a month or anything like that. All you've got to do is jump onto chatgpt.com. If you haven't got an account already, click sign up with your account, sign up to the basic plan, and then you'll be good to go. And we can build all of our custom GPTs in there. But first of all, I want to talk about prompting. Now, you may have heard the term prompting. You may have heard people say, I've got a prompt for this, or check out these ChatGPT prompts. And a ChatGPT prompt is fine. You know, and you can download other people's and you can use them to train your ChatGPT model. But really, you want to become a master prompter. Now, the way you do this, there's kind of like an anatomy of a prompt. So I'm going to go through, just before we get started on the prompts, I'm going to show you why I've created the prompts that I have and why we use them the way that we do, because I think once you understand the anatomy of a prompt, you'll understand why we do certain things. So the first step of creating a good prompt, the first bit here, is context. So you need to give the AI context. You need to let it know who you're speaking to. That's one of the most important things. So who is it that you are trying to speak to in this content that you're creating or whatever? And you also need to give it a little bit of background as well. For example, with my business, obviously I own an AI software company. So I might say something like, I have an AI and automation software and I speak to founders who are looking to automate their business. So just a little bit of context so I can tell this AI what's going on right now. I'm not just going to throw something at it and it's not going to really know what's happening. So the first one is context. The second one is role. You need to give the AI an identity. You need to tell it who it is. Now, I actually get super specific with this. Sometimes I say you're an expert copywriter. Sometimes I say you are a legal advisor and I tell it what the general role is. But also, if I know people who are experts in that field, I will tell it those people. So for example, if I'm doing copywriting, I will say you are expert copywriter Perry Belcher. Or if I want a Grand Slam offer, I will say you are Alex Hormozy. So I will actually tell it who it is. And that gives it even more context as well. The third one is action. So we're going to say, what do we want it to do? So say, for example, I'm putting together a sales page because I want to sell one of my courses. So I'm going to say, my business is made for more AI. We're an AI and automations company. I serve small businesses. The role is that they are an expert copywriter, Perry Belcher. Then the action is that you will say, I want you to write a sales page with high converting copy that's going to sell my course. So I'm going to give it an action. I'm going to tell it what I want to create. I'm not just going to kind of give it a broad term and say, hey, can you just create me something to help me sell my course? I'm going to say, can you help me create a full funnel so that I can sell my course? Then the last one is output. So tell it how you want that information to come out. So for example, you might say, I want it to be less than 300 words. I want it to be in bullet point format. I want it to be really conversational. You might give it a little brand voice here and say how you want that style of voice to come out. You might say you want it to be funny or something like that. But then the output is where you're coming in, you're saying, this is the style that I want it to come out in. Now, the most important thing in order to become a master prompter and not just a basic prompter is to then go back and keep prompting. Don't just take that first thing that it comes back with and be like, okay, there we go. If you were going to give feedback to one of your employees, give that same feedback to the AI, because not only are you going to get the output that you want and you're going to really keep working at it. I always think this is like dough, and you're going to be massaging it and kneading it to get the output that you want. Not only are you going to get the output that you want, but you're also going to train it for future, so that the more you use this, it's going to remember, last time I did this, she said that she didn't like that, so I'm going to make sure I don't do that. So the more feedback you give it, whether it's good or bad, make sure you give it feedback so that you are actually training the AI. And even with the output as well, you can tell it things that you don't like. So I always give my ChatGPT like red flags. So for example, I want UK English spelling. I don't like words or phrases that are like truth bomb and game changer and whatever. I don't really like those things. So I will tell it what I don't like. So you can put your red flags in there as well. So those are the 4 areas, the 4-step process you want to go through to create your prompt. And that's really the anatomy of the prompt. But as I said, you want to keep going back, challenge it, ask it why it's done that. You know, if it comes back and says, here is your high converting sales page, you could say, why is that high converting? Can you break it down for me so that I can see how you've structured this? And then say, for example, maybe the headlines come back and you don't really like the headline, but you like the rest of it. Instead of just going into it and changing the headline yourself, go back and say, I like it, but I don't really like the headline. Can you give me some more options? Then you can say, I really like number 3 because of XYZ. Or you can say, I don't really like this headline because of XYZ. So make sure that you are working with the AI, because the more effort and time you put into the early stages of this process, the better your output's going to be, and the more it's going to leverage your time, because you're not going to have to keep going back and forth so much. So shall we get into it? Grab a cup of tea. We're going to be here for a while, but it's going to be time well spent. I promise you. Really put the time into this, because it's going to get you back so many hours in your day in the future. The first one we're going to start with is your content creator. Now, social media is obviously huge. You cannot build a business today without being consistently present across all social media platforms. You need to have that personal brand and that brand awareness. But it can feel like you're on a hamster wheel a lot of the time. You're constantly having to churn out content. And I really do believe that quality content is better than quantity. So it can be hard to put out quality content all the time. I'm going to help you with that today. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but a lot of the time, you know, I'm a busy mum, I'm brain fried. I go to write something on my social media and I'm like, what do I say? But when you have a trained content creator agent, and trained is the real key word here, it means that you can churn out high quality content at a really consistent rate. And then I'm even going to show you after this how you can actually automate the whole process so that it just goes out to everyone as well. So your content creator, we're going to do a little bit of prompting here. We really want to get some core things across, like your brand voice, the way you speak, because it's such a telltale sign that someone's using AI. If a post comes out and previously they've been speaking one way, but then suddenly all these posts come out and it sounds nothing like that person, that's always going to jolt the reader or the listener, and we really want to make sure that this sounds like you. So we're going to do some prompting. We're going to get your brand voice in there. We're going to get some past examples of work that you've done before, so this really does get trained on you. But also we're going to train it how to create high converting content. So you may just be kind of, you know, writing your social media post with no real idea of the structure of a post and why it makes someone stop. But what we're going to do is we're going to give it some prompting so that it knows the anatomy of a post, and it knows which ones are going to stop, which ones are going to go viral, and which ones are really going to engage your viewer. So at the beginning, I shared with you the link below to our AI prompt guide. This has got absolutely everything in it. So every prompt I'm going to go through today is all in here. So if you download that, all you need to do when we're talking about things and building this together is just copy and paste those guides, and then you can put them in so you can follow along in real time. I've got every single agent that we're doing here. So let's dive in first of all. So if you go to ChatGPT, as I said, you want to sign up with the basic plan. And then once you sign up, you're going to have something that looks like this. Now, what you want to do is come over here, you'll see Explore GPTs. So click Explore GPTs and you'll come to this space here, and then you can click Create up here. So we're going to create our content creator GPT. Now, before you do any of these, I would actually recommend that you do this exercise first. So figure out who is your ideal client, because if you don't know who you're speaking to, the language that you use and the output that you get in your ChatGPT prompts is not really going to hit the spot. So the first thing you want to do, you remember when we went back before and we spoke about the anatomy of a prompt, and one of the main things is that we wanted to tell ChatGPT who we're speaking to. This is the really key bit. So before I do anything, even if it's my financial custom GPT or my legal GPT, I'm always saying who my ideal client is and who this content needs to speak to. So we have got this first prompt here. Define your ideal client. And we're going to put in this prompt. Can you give me a list of ideal client avatars? My niche is XYZ, so put in your niche there. And more specifically, XYZ. Include plenty of details such as name, age, gender, pains and problems, dreams and goals, professions, interests, marital family status, employment status, and income, etc. So we're going to put in this prompt here. And then input the bits where we had XYZ. So my niche is in AI and automation. And more specifically, AI implementation for small business owners. There we go. So we put that through, and then ChatGPT is going to come back. Here are several detailed client avatars. So it's actually going to come back with some people. So it's got Jessica, age 34. She's female, owner of an online boutique. Mark, he's a tech-resistant consultant. Maybe there's a Mark watching this. Lena. So it's going to go through and have these people. And what I recommend is whenever you're doing anything, pick out one of these people. So, really, even if you're doing videos on camera or something like that, you can actually speak to the camera and imagine that you're speaking to Tommy, or imagine that you're speaking to Lena. So it makes it super, super clear when you do that. So that is our first prompt that we want to do. And then we're going to move into this. So your master prompt, we're now going to tell the GPT who it is. So we are going to say you are a social media content creator. Your role is to plan, write and repurpose high performing social media content. So if we have a look at this here, I'm going to put this in. You create content for Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube Shorts and Pinterest, adapting tone and format to each platform because we don't want every piece of content to look exactly the same. You specialize in writing scroll-stopping hooks and captions, turning long-form content like videos, podcasts, blogs into short, engaging posts, creating content calendars. This is such a good one as well because it's not only going to create your content, it's also actually going to create, a full social media plan. So if you're thinking, well, this is good, but what should I post or when should I post it? It's actually going to create the whole plan for you. Using content pillars, staying on top of trends and formats and platform algorithms. So, as much as the platforms update, then ChatGPT is going to update as well. And then here, this is some things that we want to put in ourselves. So your tone is, and you can insert your brand voice. So for example, if you are naturally quite relaxed and funny and casual in the way that you speak, then put that in there. But if you are naturally quite serious and your tone is, I don't know, if you're a funeral director, I may not recommend creating your content like super funny and sarcastic, but make sure that your brand voice and your tone fits you. So don't just be like, I've decided I'm going to be really serious if naturally you're not that way. It fits you, but it also fits your brand and your business. So your job is to plan weekly content themes, create engaging posts for each day, write viral tweet threads. And then you're going to say, if I give you a piece of long form content, repurpose it into 5 or 10 posts, think like a strategic and creator in one. So we're not only just being, asking them to write good copy, we're thinking, what's the strategy behind it? What's the marketing strategy? How is this going to drive the products that we actually have to sell? Always focused on growing my audience, nurturing trust and getting conversions. So let's highlight this one. Let's put that in there. And then click enter. So once you press enter, it's going to have a little think about that, and then it's going to update the GPT. You'll see in a second when we go over to the configure side, you'll see that all of this stuff that we've been inputting is actually being added to it, kind of like a knowledge base. So your social content GPT is set for a name. How about social content studio? Yeah, sure. Let's call it that. So you'll notice with ChatGPT, it's actually going to give you suggestions. So it's actually going to say, hey, thanks so much for giving me this. Shall we turn this into a PDF guide, or shall we turn this into something? And it will give you prompts. So the next thing, we want to train this even more. We don't just want to say, oh, one thing I missed there, actually, I didn't actually put in my brand voice, but make sure that you do put it in. We don't just want to give it one blanket prompt and we just say, there you go, off you go. We want to add a lot of layers here. So, oh, look, it's done a little logo for me. Yeah, sure, we'll have that as a logo. That's fine. Thanks very much, ChatGPT. Okay, so next up, we want to add some more layers. So your brand voice training prompt. For this, you could actually upload some of your content. So you could say, here are 3 examples of content I've written or spoken that sound exactly like me. Learn my tone of voice from them and replicate it in all future posts. So there's 3 different things you could do here. You could do an email newsletter. So I do an email newsletter every Sunday called the Sunday Papers. So I could actually put in some examples of my Sunday papers. I also have some social media posts. So if you go back through your social media posts, see which ones got the most engagement, see which ones got the most responses and replies, and add those in as well. And same with your newsletters. Pick the ones that got the highest reply rate and the highest open rate and the click-through rate, because these are ones that have hit the spot. It's actually resonated with your ideal client. So these are the ones that you want to be putting through. So email newsletters, social media posts, and also podcasts and video recordings as well. So you can actually take the transcript of your podcast or a video recording that you've done, and you can put it in there and you can upload it as well. So I'm not going to go through absolutely everything right now, but I will put through. So if I go into here, I'm going to add one of my Sunday papers here. This was one that lots of people responded to, so I know this is going to be a good one. So I put this in here. Add that into there. Now let me go and get my prompt. And add that in. So you can do as many of these as you want. You can add that prompt and then you just keep adding as many newsletters, social media posts as you can. Obviously for this video, I'm not going to sit and upload loads, but honestly, if you've got the time, I would really recommend adding in as much as you can because it's only going to train it better. So then let's dive deeper into the audience. So my audience is mostly, put in who your audience is. It might be coaches, founders, whatever, aged, blah, 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 struggling with this problem and wanting these goals. Their emotional drivers include trust, safety, status, freedom, whatever it is, the things that really drive that. And again, you can use that prompt that you just created before with those avatars to help you with this. Tailor all future content to speak to these needs and desires. So this is where you could just go a little bit deeper into it. So say, for example, you've had some sales calls recently and your client is always thinking about the fact that they wake up in the morning and they're stressing about money. Say, for example, that works with your niche. So if we put in this here, let's add this into the prompt. So I might say something like, my audience is mostly coaches and founders. They are aged 34, struggling with, I might say juggling, motherhood and business. And by the way, just a note on that as well, with the last one that we did with your ideal clients, if any of them come back and they are not your ideal client, if you look at that profile and you think, it's not quite right, I think my ideal client is actually probably a little bit older, then go in and tell it at that point and say, this isn't right. This is, can you make the person older? I think they're more so in this niche, and just make sure that those ideal clients are perfect. So you say, my audience is mainly this, age 34, struggling with juggling motherhood and business and wanting to feel like their old selves again, for example. Their emotional drivers include trust, so they need to trust you as a buyer. They need to feel safe. They need to have status. They need to have freedom. And then we say tailor all future content to speak to these needs and desires. So then click that in. And again, the more detail you can give, the better. Don't rush through this. Obviously I can't do a 4-hour video today, but take some time to really put in these details because it's going to pay you dividends in the future. The next prompt is, you don't have to do all of these either. now we're going to move on to the offer prompt. You may not have an offer yet. You may just be in the place where you're just starting to grow your brand and grow your personal brand. You don't really know what you want to sell yet. That's fine. If any of these aren't relevant, then just don't put them in. But offer familiarity with prompt. Here is a breakdown of my core offers. What is the offer? Who is it for? What's the transformation it promises? What's the pricing and how it's delivered? Then we'll say, learn this info so that all content supports these offers directly or indirectly. That means that whenever you're creating any kind of content, most important thing you want to think about is, what is the customer journey? So if you want to think about people right now and they may not know that they have this problem or this issue that you can help them with. So the first piece of the content is making them aware, and helping raise that awareness for, this is a problem that you have. This is the reason why you feel the way you do. And there is a solution for it, and this is how the solution works. So this awareness phase needs to link in to your offer. You don't want to be talking about one thing, but then trying to hit them up with an offer later on down the line that's got nothing to do with the content you've been speaking about. So always think about that customer journey from that first point of contact that they come in, that they find out about you, right to the very top offer that you have. Is that a nice fluid journey? So that's why, even though we're creating content in this ChatGPT, your offer is really, really important, even if you're not actually going to be actively selling your offer. So let's put this one in. So for example, I might say AI. I'll do my audit offer, for example. So I do an AI audit for businesses where I sit down with them, we go through their business, and I audit everything and tell them what they need to do. Who is it for? Small business owners with, this isn't right, but I might say 5 to 10 employees. I think I've said employees with like 9 E's there. It's all good. The transformation it promises, clarity on AI and saves 10 hours a week. Pricing, I might say $997, how it's delivered, 2-hour live call and 1-hour debrief. A full report. So then we're saying learn all of that. So then we go, there you go, off you go. So now we've fed it with our offer. And later on as well, we can give it some kind of structure. In our sales and marketing GPT, I'm going to be showing you how you can actually have a full sales and marketing consultant, which is going to guide you on your offer. So if you're not clear on your offer right now, don't worry. We can go into the sales and marketing consultant after, get really clear on your offer, and then come back to this and add it in. Next up, top performing content prompt. This is similar to the one that we did before, but you're going to say, here are my top 5 performing posts. Study the tone, format, and hook. Use this style as the foundation for all future content ideas. Now, I did this before. I put my own ones in, but I've actually also done this with other people that I follow. So for example, LinkedIn was not really my platform. I always thought it was for like really stuffy people called Dave, but now I realize actually it's for me as well. So when I first got on it, I was like, what do I do here? How do I write? How do I structure it? Because it feels a little bit different to Instagram. So I started following lots of people that were blowing up on LinkedIn and really studying how they, write. It's very different on LinkedIn to what it is on Instagram. And so when I was doing this example myself, I went and found a few of the people that I really liked, took their highest performing content pieces, put it into the ChatGPT, and I said, study these pieces of format, study the way that the post is structured, the way they write, not necessarily the tone, because I'm not trying to sound like them, but there are certain ways that they kind of break up the paragraph that everyone seems to do. So I put those into there instead, and that was how I kind of trained my custom GPT on how to create my LinkedIn content. But if you already have some top performing posts, you can put your own post in there, or maybe, as I said, if you're new to this, you might find someone else that you are aspiring to be like or have the same success as, and you can put their content in. So let's put this in here. Now, just for video's sake, I'm not going to go and put in a load of posts, but you know exactly what to do here. You're just going to put this in, copy and paste everything that you want, add it all in, don't shy away, put in as much as you can that's going to be valuable, and then add it in. So then we go to the next one. Your content pillars. Here are my 4 content pillars and what each one is meant to do. So value and education, authority and proof, storytelling and connection, direct promotion, and then I want to balance them across the week. So if we copy and paste that, put that in. So you can put your own things in here. So value and education. So for example, I might say sharing quick hacks on AI and how to use it in your day-to-day life. So that's one of my pillars. This is pieces of content that I want to create. Again, if you're stuck with this, if you don't know what your pillars should be, if you have no idea, you've got no inspiration, then you can ask it. You can say, based on this, what do you think my 4 content pillars should be? Authority and proof. I'm going to have case studies and testimonials and me speaking on stage. So that shows my authority. Storytelling and connection. This is going to be posts from my Sunday papers. So my Sunday papers is my newsletter where I kind of go a little bit more, it's a little bit more personal. There's a lot of storytelling. I speak about my week in there. So it feels a lot more personal, that kind of stuff. Direct promotion. This is going to be maybe live webinars that I'm running. I want people to book a call. I might want people to watch my free training. Another thing here as well, in storytelling and connection, this could be stories of my family life. So it's always good, you know, you're doing this for business, but ultimately people want to get to know you. The most important thing is that people know, like, and trust you. And if they don't really know anything about you, they really struggle to trust you. And ultimately, if you're doing something where you're wanting to inspire people, they want to say, oh God, she's just like me and she's doing what I want to do, or he's doing what I want to do. And so adding in that personal life is really important for people to resonate with you. So there we go. So then we add that in. Then this is a really important one, and I think this is actually one that people miss out a lot. This is where you kind of get content that feels a bit like, meh, this doesn't really feel like me. So your hard boundaries prompt. This is where you're going to be saying, these are the things that I don't like. I don't want you to put this in any of my content. So for example, here are things I don't want you to use in my content. Don't use overly salesy language like buy now, big discount offers and things like that. Definitely put that in, because also social media doesn't really favor that kind of content. So it's not going to show it out if it looks highly promotional. Don't write cheesy motivational quotes. So I don't really want just standard quotes that people say all the time that are just boring. The most important thing is, like, if something is being said all the time, people kind of tune out to it. So, you know, like if you hear something, the same thing all the time, this is probably what my kids think about me asking them to go and brush their teeth, to be honest. They're like zoned out of it because I say it so much. But if you read the same things all the time and hear the same things all the time, it just blends into the background and it becomes noise. So you don't really want to be saying exactly the same as everyone else. So no cheesy motivational quotes. Don't assume that I have a large audience or team. So you might say, I want my content to speak to one person. Stick to my values, honesty, and grounded authority. And then another thing here is I will actually put in words that I don't like. So I will say, don't use these words. I don't like it when AI says stuff like truth bomb or real talk. I'm like, I'm not living in the valley in California. What are we doing here? So like truth bomb, real talk. I don't like to use game changer, even though I do actually say game changer sometimes. I want to say any words here, basically. Obviously swear words. We don't want to use swear words, even though in my day-to-day life I do swear probably every third word. And then we want to say, make sure you use UK English. If you are obviously from the UK, you don't want to have loads of Zs popping up because that's always a really big giveaway. So let it know what you don't want it to say. And then that's going to update, and then we're adding on these layers. I really love this because everything that I'm doing, I feel like I'm adding on a layer every time, and it's just getting closer and closer and closer to where I want to get to. That's why I'm kind of obsessed with giving it as much as I possibly can, because I know that I'm moving towards something. I think with social media, normally it feels like I'm just creating content and putting it out there and then it's just lost into the abyss. Whereas with this, I put the time in, but I'm getting it better and better and better every single time. So now it says all your content rules are now in place. UK English only, no hypey language, no truth bomb or cheesy quotes, and will stay grounded and real. Do you want me to build your first carousel or tweet thread to kick things off? So we can totally do that. Let's have a little go at that. Yes, sure. A tweet thread, please. Another strategy that you can do, this is actually something that Alex Hormozy does all the time. He will actually start with tweet threads. So he will just put his own thoughts out there, or he'll put a few kind of tweets out there. And then based on what resonates with his audience, so if one particular post is getting a lot of likes and a lot of engagement, he will then take that concept and turn that into more content. So he might do a long form video about that and then cut that down into short form videos as well. So here we go. So here's some tweet threads. 5 weeks ago, I was done feeling like rubbish, dragging through each day, snappy with the kids, half showing up in the business. I've been putting off change for months. Then I decided, enough, time to take myself seriously. I feel like I have actually written those words myself or said those words myself. So this is really good. This has captured me pretty quick, straight from the beginning. This isn't trained on me so far. This is a brand new one. So yes, that's a good place to start. So once you've got that content, once the social media agent has created all of that content for you, maybe you've got, 7 days worth of content, you can actually now come and use a social media scheduling tool to schedule all of that out. So for example, our software made for more AI, you can come into here, come into marketing, and we have a social media planner built already inside it. So you can come over here, click new post, create post, select the accounts that you want to use. So you can do it. I need to reconnect my accounts, but you could do it with LinkedIn. You can do it with Facebook. You can do it with Instagram. You can actually do it with, thank you. You can actually do it with YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, all of that kind of fun stuff. So you're going to select the account that you want. I want it to go on there. I'm going to go over to here and take my first post. There we go. I can pop it into here. I'm just going to take out where it says hashtags and all of that stuff. And then if I'm happy with that, you can do your reels in here. You can do your stories in here. Put in a graphic if you want to, a video or whatever. You can also add a follow-up comment. So if you don't want to put a link to something directly into the post, which I don't recommend that you do, you can just put the link to it here. So you can say sign up here, for example, and then put the link directly in there. So you can do all of your posts at the same time across all of your channels, and then come down here to post. You can preview all of that. You can save it for later. You can post it now. You can schedule the post for another time, or you can send the post for approval. So if you've got someone on your team that you want to send this to, you can put it straight in there and then schedule your recurring post. So if your business doesn't need brand new content all the time, I recommend probably doing like 90 days worth of content and then just rotating that every 90 days, because they're not going to remember what you wrote, 3 months ago. It's all good. So if you've got something that doesn't need brand new content all the time, definitely utilize that. And then you can literally schedule it and it goes out across all of your posts, and then you can manage it across all of your platforms. And then a good thing about that as well is that once you come into here, you can then go to statistics and you get all of your statistics. So you can look at, my accounts aren't connected, but if you look at all of your accounts in here, you can see a full overview of all of your performance and all of your statistics. So you can see which one's growing, which one's not, which posts worked. And when we were looking at saying which posts you want to add into your GPTs, you can easily come into here and say, okay, that post worked the best, I'm going to add that one in. That one worked best, I'm going to add that one in. So it's really easy to gather that data to put into your GPTs. So I just want to go through another couple of ways that you can use your new custom agent. So here's some prompts that you can use. Here are my top 10 performing posts. Analyze the hooks, structure, tone, and engagement. Tell me why you think they performed well and how I can replicate this success. This is so good because not only is ChatGPT and your custom GPT going to create the content for you, but it's also now going to give you coaching and guidance on why certain things are working. So you are up-leveling your skills as a marketer and understanding why things work and why things don't. So if you do want to go off and do bits on your own, you can follow that same structure. Here's a breakdown of my ideal client and their key pain points, goals and values. Review my past content and tell me what's aligned with this audience and what I should change to resonate more. So sometimes you might put out a piece of content and you spend ages doing it. I do this all the time. And I put it out there and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good. Everyone's going to go mad for this. And then it's like crickets. So instead of just being like, I don't know why that didn't go well, and then you go on and create another piece of content that doesn't hit, you could take that piece of content, put it through and say, why did this not work? Like, with everything you know about my ideal client, why did this piece of content not work? Then you can create a 30-day content calendar based on my current goal. So whatever your goal is for that quarter, maybe you are launching something, maybe your focus is growing your audience, maybe your focus is nurturing the audience that you have. Use 3 to 5 content pillars and give me 3 idea posts per week with call to actions. I love that. It gives you so much clarity. And if you do want to write stuff yourself, you can just use this content calendar. Here's a 10-minute video I recorded. So you could put in the transcript of a YouTube video or something like that. Turn this into a YouTube short script. Turn it into Instagram carousels, LinkedIn posts, email newsletters, or tweet ideas. This is such a good way of creating your content. If you have one long form piece of content and, you know, if you felt like you were on fire that day and it was a really, really good video, then just put that through here and get it broken up into loads of pieces of content. It's such an easy way of doing it. And it means that you kind of have a bit of a series to your content as well, which is quite nice. And then here are analytics from my last 30 posts: engagement, reach, saves, shares, what's working best, and what do I need to do more or less of. Suggest 3 new content angles based on this data. Now, I've become so data driven. I absolutely love it now. I used to just throw stuff out and cross my fingers and hope that stuff worked. But this is so good because you can actually look at your last month's content or your last 3 months' content and put it through. And you know that if you are led by the data, if you follow the advice and the suggestions that you're getting from this, which is highly trained on you and your audience, you are only going to get better. You can only possibly get better because you are improving it every single time. If you just have a look at that and think that's not really working, but you don't analyze it, then that's wasted time. So I love these prompts here. They really, really help me get the most out of this Custom GPT. And yeah, I think you're going to absolutely love it. So this is our first GPT done. That wasn't too bad, was it? Obviously the time is really in gathering the posts and gathering the emails and, you know, maybe getting the transcripts and things like that, but put it in, bung it all in. Then what we actually do is go to configure. Before it gave us that nice little snazzy thumbnail, but you can change that if you want to. We've got the name. You can call it a name if you want. Maybe you want to call it Sally the Social Creator, whatever you want to call it. The description, it plans and writes all of this. Got the instructions here. And then another thing you can do, it's got the conversation starters here. So, you know, plan my content, repurpose this content. But you can also upload files here. So if you've written a book or you have a PDF or you have something that's, you know, a file, you can upload that in there. You can also, there's so much stuff here. There's even like articles and stuff that I've read before, which I think will be really relevant to this. So I'll upload it into there. It's got a really big knowledge base. So you can always come back here. If you in the future are doing something and an email really works, or you've got a course, I have actually put entire courses of mine in here as well to help train it even better. You can just come up here, click upload files, and then all you're going to do is click create. You can share it with someone else if you want to. You can have it just with you. You can add it to the main GPT store if you want to, but if you want to have it just for you, you can just have it just for me. Click save. And then how you can access it once that's loaded. I'm going to have a little cup of tea while I'm waiting. There we go. So if you want to share it, you can share that link there and then anyone else can use that. So if you've got a social media manager or someone else that you're, maybe a VA that you're paying to so some stuff for you, you can just give them that and then they're going to use that. That's actually what I did for my social media manager. View GPT, and then you'll see it's in here. So along the left here, you will always see your GPT. So you can just click on that and then go in and start asking it questions. And as I said, use it as much for social content as you do for asking questions and getting feedback and becoming better as a social creator yourself, because that's all of this is about up-leveling your skills. We don't just want to fully rely on AI. We want to use AI to improve our skills and get better ourselves. So There we go. One in the bag. Social content studio extravaganza. There we go. Right. The next one we're going to move on to is your sales and marketing consultant. Now, this is the one that I probably use the most, to be honest with you. There is so much that I do in my business that I consult my sales and marketing consultant with first. This is going to be trained to, you can see here, use this guide to fully train your AI sales and marketing GPT to think, write, and strategize like a full-time team member in your business. The more context you give, the smarter and more aligned your GPT becomes. So this GPT is giving you advice on your business. So whenever I'm putting an offer out, whenever I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm selling to my audience, I will always ask my GPT and I say, this is what I'm thinking about. Does this work? Does this work in my customer journey? It already knows that I've got this low ticket offer down here and this high ticket offer down here. So it's going to tell me whether this offer that I'm thinking about that sits in the middle actually makes sense. It's going to help me with how to price that offer. It's going to help me with writing all of my landing pages, all of my blogs, creating my Facebook ad videos, my YouTube videos, so much stuff it's going to do. So this is actually one of my most used prompts, which I'm excited to share with you. Okay, so let's go back here. We're going to go to Explore GPTs, create. All of your GPTs will be in here, by the way. You'll be able to see them in there. We're going to go Explore GPTs, create, and we're going to start our new one. Make sure you're on this create tab here. Here we go. So this one is, you are my full-time sales and marketing employee. Your job is to help generate qualified leads, nurture them, and convert them into paying customers using a mix of organic and automated strategies. You specialize in sales copywriting, landing pages, sales pages, and emails, lead generation, organic and paid ideas, nurture sequences with email, SMS, and social, funnel strategy and conversion optimization, market research and customer psychology, and content repurposing for social media. So there's a little bit of a crossover with the content creator, but I mainly use this for strategy and for copy on my funnels and landing pages. The tone, professional, friendly, persuasive, confident. Again, change this tone for whatever it is that you want. You can even give it a full identity if you want to. You will ask me smart questions when needed to clarify my offer, audience goals, and voice. Your goals are, so let it know what's the point of this, like what is your goal in your business. Your goals are to increase lead volume, improve conversion rates, increase customer lifetime value, and reduce churn. And assume I will ask you to create entire email sequences, plan and script social content, build funnel ideas and automations, suggest growth strategies, and improve messaging. Act like a strategic partner, not just a copywriter. You think like a growth marketer, funnel architect, and sales strategist. So let's put our master prompt in. This is the main kind of identity that we're giving it. And we're saying, this is your role as an agent. There we go. So then next up, we want to take it those layers deeper. How can we train it even better? So your offer mastery prompt. Here is my core offer. It includes what it is, what it's for. This is the one that we did before. Help me improve it, rename it if needed, and communicate the value more clearly and more powerfully. So let's go for this one here. Here's my core offer, what it is. So I'm going to let it know what it is now. I'm going to use my software. So it includes an all-in-one sales and marketing automation software for small business owners looking to have everything in one place. Okay, so you can put in whatever it is there. It could be a coaching offer, could be a service offer, could be one-on-one, whatever. It's giving me some names, giving me some ideas about it. And then you see it's already asking me if I want to create landing pages and stuff like that. But hold your horses, sales growth strategist. We are going to give you some more juice. So sales funnel understanding. Here's my current sales funnel from lead generation to close. Please study it and suggest ways to improve each step. Use this to understand where and how your marketing copy fits in the journey. Include opt-in, nurture, sales call, follow-up. And then you're going to put in your journey. So for example, mine goes free training, opt-in. Then it goes to a low ticket course. Then it goes to book a call page. And then it goes to my done for you service offer. So whatever the steps are in your customer journey, just put them out there. So if you have lead magnets, put in what that lead magnet is, where does that go to next, what does that upsell into next, and then what's the final kind of core offer of your business. So whatever those offers are and those funnels are, then you can put those in. So it's going to go through and it's going to tell me a little bit about each of these steps and tell me if all of that makes sense. So let's go to the next one. Objection handling intelligence. This is a really, really key one. So here are the top objections that I hear from leads. It's too expensive. I need to think about it. I've tried something like this before. I'm not ready yet. Learn these objections and help me pre-frame or overcome them in my marketing content. So the idea of a funnel page or a landing page is that when someone first lands on your page and they see your free content online and then they land on this page and you're going to tell them a little bit about your offer, the idea of that page is that at the top of the landing page, they're like, this looks quite nice. I don't know whether this is for me. But by the bottom of that landing page, they're like, wow, this is everything that I need. This totally spoke to exactly what I'm struggling with right now. And I fully see and trust that this is the solution to my problem. So the way that we do that is through the copy and the way that, the words that we put on that page and the things that we share on that page. And a really key thing is addressing their objections straight away. We don't want to get to the end of the page or get onto a sales call and then they start saying, oh, it's too expensive, or I need to think about it. I've tried stuff like this before. We really want the person at the bottom of that page to say, this is so different to anything else that I've seen before. And I understand why this works and what I've tried before doesn't. And we also want them to see the value in it so that whatever price we say, they can understand, whatever, I'll pay anything. For example, when I was younger, I had really, really bad acne and it was awful. It just completely destroyed my confidence. And at the time, I would have paid thousands and thousands of pounds, even though I didn't have thousands of pounds, to fix my acne because it was such a big thing, an emotional thing for me. So if I had come across a product that I truly believed would have fixed my acne, there is nothing that I wouldn't have paid in order to get that solution. And that's the kind of thing here. It's like, if you can portray and really show that your solution is the best option for them, then the money objection doesn't come up as much. But if they don't trust that, then that's why that money objection comes up. And obviously I'm not ready as well. Kind of creating that urgency and showing why if they don't do something now and change, then nothing's ever going to change. So this is all to do with the copy that you write. So here are the objections. And if you don't know what those objections are, if you can't really pinpoint what people say, there's a couple of things you can do. If you're brand new in business and you don't know, you haven't had calls, you haven't done a lot of market research with your ideal clients, you don't really know what their main problems are, you can go onto reddit.com and search for your topic, and you will see hundreds of comments about your exact thing. So say, for example, you're a, menopause coach or something. You are going to see so many comments of women talking about what they're struggling with and people going back and forth and solutions that they don't have and things that they can't find out in the market. You're going to get so much data there. So again, you can just copy those, put those in, and that's going to really help train this. If you have been doing sales calls for a long time, and you've got all of these calls, you can actually transcribe all of those videos. Hopefully you've recorded them. You should be doing it anyway, because I hope that you're going back and reviewing your calls. You can transcribe all of those, put them into here and say, analyze these sales calls and let me know what the core objections are. So here it's given us some kind of key things, tactical ideas about how we can handle all of these objections. So, past sales calls for insight. This is actually what I just spoke about. Here are some transcripts and recordings of recent sales calls. Study them to understand how my audience talks, what problems they have, and what outcomes they're looking for. Critique our pitch and follow-up process to suggest improvements later. So, for example, you could come over to here. I record all of my stuff in Fathom. I might come into here, take one of these calls. You can come over here, transcript, take this entire transcript here. This is actually with one of my team. Take the entire transcript, put it into there and then copy and paste it in. Fathom is great, by the way. If you don't use Fathom already, there's a major hack. I have it inbuilt into my Google Chrome. So as soon as I start a Zoom call, it automatically records and transcribes it and sends it off to the person as well. So if you're not using Fathom or any kind of note taker, I recommend that you do. So you can add that in your past sales calls. You can see here, it makes your GPT hyper aware of customer psychology and sales gaps. Then we're going to put it in there. I'm not uploading anything at the time, but you'll just literally put the entire transcript in there. Launch breakdown analysis. Here is the structure of a recent launch campaign. Study the timing, email cadence, offer framing, and content angles. Tell me what worked well and what can be improved next time. Now, this is such a huge thing. I've done so many launches in my time. In the last 12 years, I've launched multiple times a year. And at the beginning, I just used to do a launch and I would just do it and I'd be like, oh, that was good, or that wasn't good, or not as good as last time. And I would never analyze any of it. But now I actually analyze everything. So for every launch I have, I'll do a full launch debrief. I recommend doing this the day after you close the doors, the day after your launch finishes. But you're going to look at what was your audience at the time? How many leads did you get in? So how many people registered for your webinar or maybe a 3-day challenge? If you were doing ads, if you were doing Facebook ads, what was your ad spend? What was the cost per click, cost per mille, and everything like that? Also, what was your email list at the time? What emails worked? What emails didn't work? What was the show up rate? The show up rate is a really key thing. So if you've had 200 people register for a webinar and only 20 people got on, there is a bottleneck there. There is an issue with getting people to show up for the call. So you know that next time that's something that you need to focus on a lot. How many messages do you send? How many emails do you send? So get all of that data down and then get it into a PDF, upload that into your Custom GPT after writing this and get it to review it. See what happened. What was your close? What was your conversion rate? How many people that booked a call ended up actually purchasing your offer? Because so many times you can think, that's so weird. I've spent however much on ads and I had, 2,000 people come to my webinar, but I didn't make as much money. But if you can look at the process, you can say, well, I had more people show up, but I had less people actually booking a call, or I had more people booking a call, but I had less people actually purchasing. Then in that case, the issue is with your sales team or the way that you're selling. So you don't have to change a whole offer next time. You're just going to change that one piece. All of this marketing stuff that we're doing is about tiny changes. You're just changing little things at the time and optimizing all the time in order to get the best thing you can possibly get. So this is where you're going to just upload a report of your last launches. If you haven't got that already, start doing that now because it will be really, really important. The next thing is your CEO dashboard prompt. So this is where it gets a little bit exciting. It's exciting for me. I never thought I'd get excited about spreadsheets, but here we are in 2025 and I'm excited about spreadsheets. Now, this is probably the opposite of AI. We're going full manual spreadsheets right now. And I know that you come here for like all the AI hacks and stuff, but just bear with me on this one because I really think this is going to have a massive impact on your business. So I'm actually going to give you one of my tools and my templates that I use in my own business every day. And this isn't an AI tool. There are loads of amazing dashboards out there. We actually build custom dashboards for some of our clients, help them get eyes on all of their data. But today, I'm not going to be giving you a custom AI dashboard. I'm going to be giving you a nice, sexy spreadsheet. So spreadsheets, although you might think that is such a waste of time, like why would I not just integrate all of the tools in Zapier and get a nice spreadsheet on my computer? There's a reason why spreadsheets in this sense are really good. So I'm going to give you my CEO dashboard, and this CEO dashboard tracks all of my KPIs in my business. So the number of leads that I want coming in, the North Star metrics, so the things that are really important to my business, because there are so many things that you can do in your business, and you are on social media seeing so many different gurus saying you should try this and you should try this. And when you're clear on what your North Star metric is, you can come back to your spreadsheet and you can say, does that grow that number? If it doesn't, then it's a no for now. I'm going to pop it on the little someday shelf. So this dashboard really helps me stay focused on what's going on in my business. Is the business actually growing in the right direction? What rate is the business growing in? Are we growing our audience? Are we growing our subscribers? Are we growing our engagement? Are we growing our sales? It tracks all of those things throughout the business. And the reason why I use a spreadsheet instead of a really cool fancy tool for this is that it forces me to look at it. If I just have something that I log into and I see all of the stats, I might just look at it like this and I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, cool numbers. But when I'm actually going through my applications and I'm inputting the data myself, it forces me to look at those numbers and to analyze them and to really get involved in the entire process of growing this business. So when it comes to your sales and marketing GPT, in order for it to give you good advice and to guide you properly, it needs to know how your business is tracking, where your leads are coming from, what's working, what's not working. So this dashboard is really going to help you with this. So I'm going to give it to you. This is actually from, if you're familiar with Ryan Deiss is the founder of Scalable. He builds scalable operating systems for massive corporations. And he still uses this spreadsheet with all of the people in his portfolio. So if it's okay for him, it's okay for me. And the act of doing this manually, again, has really massively changed everything for me. So I do encourage you to take the time to go through this dashboard. So if you want the dashboard, click the link below. We can work through it together in real time. I'll show you how I filled out mine, and it's going to really help make your custom GPT and your sales and marketing assistant the best it can possibly be. So this is what I go through with my clients every single week. So I do this for myself, but also with my clients. Every Friday, we sit down and we go through everything across their business. I'm actually going to show you right now what this CEO dashboard is. Here we go. I've got a template for you here. So here's an example template. This is, you've got all the weeks along here of everything that what you're working on at the moment, and then you just keep adding the tabs for each month. You've got the metrics that you want to track. These are metrics that we track, but you don't have to do these. These can be different depending on your business. So what was your revenue? What was the cash collected? And what was the revenue per employee? Then you've got your North Star metrics. These are the most important ones here. So the 3 things that you are looking at focusing on in your business. I don't recommend having more than 3 because then it all just gets a little bit crazy. So new leads and subscribers, meetings booked, meetings completed. Maybe these are the metrics that you're looking at. So you're just going to put in the number for each of those things. And then here you've got what your target was, what your actual one was. And then here you can color code it and you can say, we're kind of in a good place with that. You know, we can keep that as light green, or, you know, maybe this is something that we need to look at. This is the red. I don't want any red on my spreadsheet. So if it's things that really need to take a lot of looking at, you can turn it to red, and you know that those are the things you need to focus on. You can assign it to a person on your team, and you can say where that thing is coming from. So if you need to gather that data from Stripe, for example, you can say where it's coming from and then put those notes in. But this is really good. So it goes across product, marketing, sales, success support, technology, accounting and finance, and absolutely everything. So I really recommend doing this. As I said, I know it's not AI. I know it's manual. You can set up Zapier if you want to import this data for you, but I really recommend just taking the time to do it, because you need to know your business. And if you aren't on top of the numbers and if you don't know what's actually going on, it's really hard for you to make the right decisions. And as the CEO or the founder, you need to be the person that's driving this ship. So all you're going to do is come to File, come down here to download it as a PDF. There you go. Export it like that. And then you can just come into your ChatGPT. You can put in the prompt that we just spoke about. So this one here, here's a snapshot of our current business performance, leads, sales, churn, ad spend and revenue. Use this data when giving marketing strategy or campaign recommendations. So you could just fill this in once a month. You don't have to do it every week if you don't want to. Fill it in once a month, and then add it into here. So you can see you can actually add files or photos here. You can add this, add it in there. It's going to upload and then send it off. That is such good context. You are literally getting like a C-suite marketing consultant or strategist here. If you're able to give it that, you look, it goes through and it will say your revenue very close to here, close but slightly behind. This is strong. It shows you already the things that you need to do. And then strategic recommendations. These are the things that you need to look at. You need to fix your call drop off. You need to boost your average deal size. You need to improve your cash flow. This is gold. This is so valuable to have this kind of insight, because I'm not now just blindly plodding along and doing what I'm doing and carrying on making the same mistakes. I've got clear direction here. This gets me so excited because I know exactly what I need to be working on. So that is such a key piece. If you want that dashboard, by the way, there's a link below. So click the link below. You can get that dashboard. You get that full template. and you can start using that straight away. So the last one is competitor insight prompt. Here are 2 to 3 competitors I admire. Review their messaging and content strategy and help me identify gaps, advantages, or inspiration we can use. This isn't about copying other people. This is about saying, let me take what's working with them and let me put my own stamp on it. So you see there, it says, help me identify gaps and advantages or inspiration. It's like, where are there things that they're not doing that we could do? You know, where is the opportunity for us to take what's working for them and do it better? So it's a really, really good prompt. You can put in some people. You can put in like a bio about someone. So for example, I might say, who is my inspiration? I love Daniel Priestley. I think he's amazing at what he's doing. Obviously, I love Alex Hormozy. He's also great. I love Sabri Subi. These are all marketing people. You can tell that I'm a marketing nerd. And I also love Mustafa Suleyman. He's talking a lot about, I don't think I spelled that right. He wrote a book called The Coming Wave, which is all about AI. If you want to go into all of that, it's really, really good. So I might put that in there, and then it's going to go off and it's going to analyze. Those are all big people. So ChatGPT knows how to analyze those people. But I could put in some of their posts. I could put in lots of their other stuff. There we go. It's weird that it's all men that I aspire to. Don't know why that is, but I've got a bit of a masculine energy, I think. Anyways, so then let's look and see how we can use your sales and marketing agent. Strategy and planning. Based on my current offer and funnel, what's the highest leverage marketing activity I should focus on this week? So instead of saying, I'm just going to do everything, it's like, where can I channel my energy to get the biggest ROI on my efforts? Can you map out a 3-step lead generation strategy for my offer that doesn't rely on ads? This is all, honestly, this is gold. I have paid over the years genuinely over £100,000 on like courses and education and all of this stuff to learn stuff like this. And now you're now getting it for free. And this is probably better advice than those courses that I spent months, working through. This is so, so good. I have a launch coming up in 4 weeks. Build me a full campaign schedule, including content, email, and promo ideas. Email marketing. This is amazing because it used to take me so long to create lead magnets. I'd like put it all together and then I'd build the funnel and then I'd do the emails, and it would take ages because you never want to do a lead magnet. If you're not sure what a lead magnet is, it's a free opt-in where someone will click on a social media ad. You'll ask them to put in their email or their name or something like that. And in exchange, they get something for free. When they download that, you never want to just leave them to it and be like, there you go. Hope you buy some of my stuff one day. You want to have a nurture email sequence that goes out after that. So for 5 to 7 days after that, it's a more intense email sequence, actively trying to upsell something. And then it goes on to like a 90-day nurture sequence. So you can actually have this creating all of these emails so quickly. So you can have loads of emails going out really, really easily. Write a re-engagement email for cold leads who haven't opened or clicked in 60 days. Make it friendly, curious, and valuable. Create a weekly newsletter template I can use that shares tips, case studies, and offers, all in my brand voice. Then sales copy and landing pages. Honestly, one of my clients the other day, I created a GPT for her, really highly trained it on her. She's been running ads for a really, really long time. And I wrote some ad scripts for her so that she could record them and get them out. And her ads have blown up. Like in 3 days of her ads being live, she's got 1,200 registrations. Whereas before, in a 14-day campaign, she got just under 2,000 registrations. So in 3 days, she's got over half of what she got in 14 days because of the scripts that were written by her Custom GPT. So this isn't gimmicky. This isn't just like this just saves you time. The quality of the content that comes out of these is so high because it's trained on so much, great strategy. Create 3 variations of my headline. This is another one as well. I might write a post or I might have something that I wanted to put out and I'll put it through this and I'll say, can you write me a really catchy hook? The hook is so important when you're doing any kind of marketing. Make sure it creates urgency, authority, and transformation. Funnel and conversion support. Can you help me with my funnel? I've spent so many countless nights thinking about my funnels and thinking, so should that go to that? And then should I upsell into that? Or maybe I should downsell into that? Or maybe that would be best like that. And now I just literally put it in, ask it, and 9 times out of 10, I take its advice and it works really well. And then weekly review and reporting. This week, I published 3 emails and 4 posts. Here are the metrics. Help me interpret what's working and what to adjust. If you're doing this on a consistent basis, you can catch things really, really quickly. It means that you don't have to wait to the end of the year when you do your annual review and you're like, what went well last year? That's fine, but you've just lost a year. You could have been tweaking and optimizing for a long time up until that point. So if you are catching this earlier, doing this once a month or once a week, you're going to get so much more data and move so much quicker. And then there's loads of bonus workflow ideas here as well. So can you tell I'm excited about this one? This has made such a difference in my business, and that's why I get so excited about it. So what we do then, we go to, once you've given it everything that you want, go to configure. We've got our nice little feisty Mary Poppins, sales growth strategist, all the details in there. Again, add in anything that you think will be valuable into the knowledge base, and then click create. Beautiful. Okay, agent number 3. We are 2 agents down. We're doing good here. So agent number 3, we're now onto your financial advisor and your bookkeeper. This is someone that I really don't want to spend money on. So if I'm going to spend money on something, I want it to be on a course or ads or clothes or something for my business. I don't really want to spend money on a financial advisor. It just feels like, you know, when you're doing your house and you've got to spend $1,000 fixing the fence, you're like, I don't want to fix the fence for $1,000. I want to fix something else. Anyway, so if I can save money in this area and get a load of advice and help me, it's definitely something that is so valuable. But also, it is such an important part of your business. And I've probably learned this about 11 years into my business, that this is probably one of the most important parts. I had it as like priority 9, but it actually should be right up there with probably priority 1. If you don't have a handle on your numbers, then you can be making loads of money and actually have no profit and nothing to show for it at the end of it. So it's such a key thing. You might find it a bit boring, this stuff, but actually when you're doing it in this sense, I actually find it quite fun, which is cool. So your financial advisor and your bookkeeper, use this to train your AI finance and bookkeeping GPT to behave like a strategic financial partner. This GPT will help track income, monitor expenses, understand your P&L, and offer smart financial insights for better business decisions. So let's dive in. Here is our master prompt. You're a full-time finance and bookkeeping advisor. Your job is to help me manage, understand, and improve my business finances. You break down complex financial concepts into simple insights and help me make smart decisions. You specialize in categorizing and reviewing income and expenses, creating and explaining profit and loss, monitoring cash flow, tracking profit margins, forecasting revenue and budgeting for expenses, identifying financial red flags and opportunities, and offering strategic insights based on actual business members. So this is such important stuff. I'm sure reading through that, you're thinking, oh yeah, that I probably am not doing any of those things. Maybe you do. Maybe you've got someone in your team that is already doing these things. And if you do, that's great. But this is just going to help even them do a lot of the boring stuff that's not really taking their brain power. It's like inputting data and stuff like that. This is really going to help just speed up the process of getting the answers that you really need. So let's copy that. We're now going to go back. So we're going to go to create. We're going to put our prompt in. We're going to tell it who it is. Okay, so when it comes to training your financial advisor GPT, the more information you can give it, the better. And that means you need to gather all of that information. Of course, you can go into QuickBooks and you can download your profit and loss sheets and everything like that. But I'm actually going to let you in on a little hack, which has massively changed the game for me. So I said before that I was a dancer. And when I was dancing, I was never really earning loads of money. I was in shows in the West End, but I was never really earning a lot of money. And I was always kind of like struggling to pay my bills, and I was always chasing and things like that. And so I developed this kind of feeling of, oh, I just don't want to look at the numbers. I just hated looking at my bank account. I always knew it was going to be minus. There's going to be like aggressive red numbers and stuff. And I just really wasn't interested in looking at it. And when I started my business, I came into my business with that same attitude. So I would just spend. Money would come in, I'd spend it, and I had no real kind of concept of whether I could afford something or not, whether I could hire someone or not. And I just used to spend it and then cross my fingers and hope to manifest a load more money in, and then I would just go like that. And probably about a year ago, I reached a point in my business where we were generating more money than we ever had before. And I was still feeling that pinch, and I was still feeling like, why am I still struggling to pay that bill when we've got so much money coming in and this doesn't make sense anymore? I need to get on top of this. So I actually took it right back to basics, and I got this spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet, I've definitely got another spreadsheet for you. You're probably thinking, oh, for God's sake, just give me the tools, give me the subscriptions. I don't want you to spend more money on subscriptions, because sometimes the spreadsheets actually are the best thing you can do. I fill it out once a month. I sit down on the first of every month and I look back at last month, and I look at all the income that's coming in, all the outgoings across both of my businesses, and I literally put in every single transaction. Now, you might be thinking this is absolutely crazy. You've got all of these cool tools available. I do use QuickBooks as well. I've got all my internet banking. Why are we going through what I spent on Starbucks, and why are we going through what I spent on petrol that day, or that packet of Skittles that I probably shouldn't have bought? But I actually put everything through, because when I did this exercise for the first time, I was horrified. I literally got to the bottom of that spreadsheet and I was like, oh my God, I thought that this was a massively profitable business, and one area of my business was running at 1% profit. 1% profit. What the hell? How can you run a business at 1% profit? Especially when I've been working my arse off and really doing well in the business and generating a really good income, and we were still working at 1% profit. So that exercise, when I sat down and I did that, was such an eye-opener and a massive slap in the face, to be honest, that I vowed that I would be fully on top of my numbers. Now, my personality does not lean towards numbers and details and things like this. Definitely not spreadsheets. Honestly, most of the time it really bores me. But I knew that I had to get over this. So if you are that kind of person that's been avoiding your finances, or, not looking at the numbers, and you're just, crossing your fingers and hoping that you're going to manifest all this money and you're just going to be living on a yacht one day, I really urge you to do this exercise. As I said, it's the anti-AI. It's the most manual thing you're going to do, but I think it's the best time that I spend in my business. And so I'm actually really excited to do it every single month now. So I'm going to give you the spreadsheet that I use. This is the one that's changed everything. It's so simple. Everything is formulaic, has formulas. Everything is done. So you can actually just put the input and it's going to automatically update. But it's really simple. There is no, crazy thing for this. But I really recommend that you sit down once a month and go through this, because once you have this spreadsheet, you can then upload this into your Custom GPT and you can ask it to help you with financial advice. So for example, at one point I was looking at hiring these big fancy offices. I wanted to build this big YouTube studio and have this big fancy office, and I was so excited. And if I looked at the revenue coming in, I was like, yeah, of course, we can totally afford that. Let's go. So I was about to sign the line on this contract, and then I decided, let me just get this spreadsheet, put it through my financial advisor GPT, and let me see what it says. And it came back and it said, I don't think this is a good move for you. And it gave me all of the reasons why that wasn't the right financial move for me. It looked at the patterns in my business of when certain clients were coming to the end of their retainer, where there were certain seasons in business and maybe there would be gaps. And it showed me why now wasn't the right time to do it. But if I wanted to do it, then maybe in 3 months' time might be a good time. I don't naturally think that way, but I decided not to do it. And I'm so, so glad that I didn't actually sign up for that office, because it wasn't the right move for us at the time. So this enables you to make much better, well-informed decisions. When you've got all of this data clearly mapped out, you can put it in there and you can say, should I be doing this? Should I be spending on this? I want to hire this person. Can I afford to hire that person? Or what could I afford to pay that person? But also just gives you that peace of mind of knowing that you are making informed decisions. I'm not crossing my fingers anymore. I'm not really just sitting back and hoping that things will work out. I know exactly how things are going to work out because everything is completely forecasted. So little side note there, but I think you're going to find this hugely valuable, and you're here because you want a business that's profitable. It gives you freedom, it gives you time, and it gives you choices. And in order to do that, you need to have a profitable business and you need to get a handle on your numbers. So there you go. All you need to do is click the link below and you can get access to that spreadsheet. Okay, so we're going to come here. This is for the whole year, so you'll literally have every month in there. It's got absolutely everything in there. So you'll put all of your expenses in there. You'll put all of your revenue coming in here, even things if you've got any kind of recurring revenue. What's your churn rate? What are one-off kind of branding projects and things like that, or service packages that you do? What's your ARPA? What's your setup fees, recurring clients? And then your other 8 things here. So I've actually got 2 parts of my business. I've got my SaaS and I've got my agency. So I actually put it all in the one spreadsheet, but I separate them out together. And then you've got all of your expenses. I put every single expense down. I've grouped together miscellaneous things, but my list of expenses is really long, and I really do take the time to put the stuff in. Then you've got your P&L at the bottom. You can see exactly what your P&L was, but also the percentage as well. And the best thing is that you can see each month, are you growing or are you going down? Whoever this person is having a terrible time. But you can really see how it's going, and you know that you're increasing. Ultimately, we want to see all of these numbers going up and all of these numbers going down. That's the ideal scenario. So we're going to download that. Let's go download PDF, and this is going to act as the guide for all of our prompting. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you're like, Carly, I am not here for the spreadsheets, I'm not interested, that's totally fine. I hope you're using something though. So if you're using something like QuickBooks or Xero, so wherever it is that you've got your stuff, then you can export that dashboard or all of that data and input it into here. By the way, there's something I need to tell you as well about keeping your ChatGPT secure. So you can actually set your ChatGPT to private. So if you don't want your data going out to everyone, that's fine. You can set it to private. You can actually do that in the settings of your ChatGPT. So I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to come in here. You're going to upload your financial template or your downloads from QuickBooks or Xero or wherever you get that from. Upload that into here, and then we're going to put our master prompt in there. Beautiful. So we put it in there, and then it's already giving us some guidance. And the advice from this feels so much better than like the advice from your mum. You know what I mean? When your mum's like, you need to stop spending. But when this comes through and says you need to stop spending, you're like, oh, okay. Or even if my partner tries to tell me that I spend too much, I definitely take it better from my little agent over here. So it's already giving me some advice. Then we can do it even more. So business model and revenue training. Here's a summary of how my business makes money, our offers, pricing models, monthly recurring versus one-time payments. Learn this so you can properly analyze our income. Okay. So the link for the spreadsheet, by the way, is down below. If you haven't clicked that already, that's how you can download it. Then we get to the good stuff. Like, really want to be looking at all of that stuff. It's the important piece, but it's definitely not the sexy part. We want to be looking at what our goals are. How can we hit our goals? How can we, take what we've got and make it better? So here we're going to use, here are my financial goals, my revenue, my profit margin, and my cash buffer. Help me reverse engineer how to hit these targets and track my progress monthly. So again, we're giving it really good prompting, telling us where we are now and where we want to go. That's the most important thing. If you're blindly going into ChatGPT and saying, I want to make 100K a month, how do I do that? It's going to give you a really basic overview of how to do it with no context. It doesn't know you, it doesn't know the audience, your audience size, it doesn't know what's going on in your business, your skills. So it's going to tell you something that probably is going to feel like, I don't know if that's right. But if you give it all of this context before, it's going to say, hey, this is what you've got. This is how you personally can reach your goal. That's such better advice than just kind of blanket, even taking courses and stuff like that. It's still going to be very generic advice for everyone. So really great things that come out here. To maintain a 40% profit margin on a 200K revenue, your target profit is this, max allowable expenses. So I know that I can't spend any more than that if I want to hit that goal. That's a good number for a spender like me to know. So really important things there. So cash flow forecasting prompt, based on my current recurring revenue and monthly expenses, help me build a basic 3-month cash flow forecast. Assume X stays consistent unless otherwise noted. So if everything stayed the same, if my revenue stayed the same, or if my number of leads stay the same, what is my cash flow going to be? So you've got everything here. You've got a full little chart going on. You've got your one-off revenue. You've got estimated monthly expenses. And it's going to give you all of that. So I just find that really valuable. For someone that's only really just started getting into finding the numbers fun, this makes it really, really fun for me. So here's a snapshot of my current income expense structure. Suggest ways to increase profitability by adjusting pricing, reducing waste, and improving margins. Put all of these in. You can pick and choose some of these. Like, these might not all be relevant to you. You might not need to know some of this stuff right now. Maybe you're in the early stages of your business. But also, if you're in the later stages of your business, if you're looking to exit and you're thinking, I need to show a forecast, is my business ready to exit? What do I need to put in place in order to make it really attractive for a buyer? You can be asking it all of these questions. What do I need to do to my books, and what do I need to do to my structure in order to get myself prepared to exit in a year's time? Something like that. So put all of that in. And then monthly cadence. This is a really important one. Every month, help me review. If you don't want to sit and look through a spreadsheet all the time, then you're going to say, act like a CFO, act like a chief financial officer, giving me a clear monthly summary and action items. So every month you can get a full review. This kind of takes, reviewing your month to a whole new meaning, because you can really review. You're not just going to sit and journal and be like, it was a good month, or it could have been better. You're actually going to be reviewing all the details in it and getting a really clear roadmap for the next month or the next quarter. Fab. So we have trained that. There's loads more that you can give it. Again, the more you give it, the better the output you're going to get. But here's some ideas that you can do. Create a weekly financial summary based on this data. Categorize these expenses from week to week and tell me which areas are costing me the most. Based on last week's numbers, am I on track to hit my monthly profit? And again, that's good because you're catching it early. You're not just going to get to the end of the month and be like, wow, I was so far off my goals. If you're looking at this every week, you can be like, hey, what do I need to adjust in order to stay on track? Your monthly prompts. So create a profit and loss summary for the last 30 days. Format it simply and clearly for review. Here's my recurring revenue and average expenses. Help me forecast cash flow for the next 90 days. There's so much you can do here. My revenue goal for Q2 is X. Based on current numbers, what would I need to bring in monthly to hit this? I just love these. I'm such a target-driven person. So seeing these things that I actually need to hit, or you need to cut down your expenses by X, you need to increase your revenue by X, you need to increase your leads because that converts into this by X. It saves me so much brain overthinking, and I just know exactly what I need to do. So this is a really, really important one. I can't believe I'm getting so jazzed up about the financial agent, but it will really change a lot in your business. So there we go. We've done that. We come to configure, add in anything else that you want. Maybe there's a financial report or something that you're working towards. Maybe you've got certain KPIs that you need to hit. You can put all that in there and say, this is what I need to hit. How can you help me get to that? Click create. Off we go. We are nearly there, my friends. We are 3 agents in. We've got 2 more to go. Okay, so we are now on to your legal advisor. I know that we've moved from finance to legal and you're like, this sounds like a bore. But again, this is a really important one. I'm going to speed through this quite quickly because you get the gist now. You know how it works. You create the custom GPT. You give it that master prompt. So in this case, we're looking at this one here. You give it that master prompt, and then you're going to keep training it a little bit better, adding those layers. Kind of think of it like an onion. Add the layers, add the layers, add the layers. How can it be as best as it can possibly be? And then you've got the examples there of how to do it. So this is all in the guide. I probably don't need to go through every single prompt. Otherwise, we'll be here for hours. But the legal one is important. And again, this is something that I don't want to spend loads of money on, but if I don't get this in place, if I'm not on top of the legal side of my business, then it could cost me millions. So it's really important to get a good idea of the legal side of your business. Now, I want to be super, super clear on this bit. The legal GPT is not going to create contracts for you. This is not to replace a solicitor. It's not to fire your legal team or anything like that. This is actually just to help you have a bit of guidance and see what bits you need in place. A lot of the time, you don't find out that you needed something until it's too late. And then you think, why did no one tell me that I needed that document or that thing on my website or that form or whatever? So this is how you're going to use this GPT. As I said, it's not to replace solicitors. Solicitors, don't come at me. I'm not coming for your job. I am just helping inform people a lot more when it comes to the legal stuff. So you are my full-time legal advisor, GPT. Your role is to help me understand contracts, that's the key bit there. Write basic legal documents, review agreements, and provide general legal style information to support my business decisions. You specialize in drafting simple contracts, NDAs, service agreements, terms and conditions, reviewing and simplifying legal documents, explaining legal terminology in plain language. That's such a big one. Identifying risks in deals and client arrangements, and advising on compliance and best practices for small businesses. You do not, aggressive capital letter, you do not act as a licensed attorney. You do not provide legal representation or definitive legal advice. Instead, you help me feel confident and prepared when dealing with legal tasks or professionals. The tone is clear, informative, and risk aware. So really what this is doing, as I said, is just helping you feel confident. So you're going to be asking things like, here's the kind of business I run and the typical legal documents I need support with, client contracts, affiliate agreements. Learn to anticipate this and support my needs. Another thing, when I first started running ads, when I first started running Facebook ads, I didn't know that I had to have my privacy policy in there. I didn't know that I had to have certain other legal bits on there, disclaimers from certain compliance perspectives. I didn't know that I had to have that on there. So I was ready to go with the ads and I was like, I haven't got any of this in place. And I ended up paying a solicitor a lot of money to write this up for me. Say, for example, I wanted to launch a weight loss supplement. There's loads of like legalities around that, things you can say, things you can't say. So I could come to my legal GPT and I could say, I'm about to launch a weight loss supplement. What can I do and what can't I do? What are the red flags that I need to look out for? What is some terminology or language that I mustn't say in order to stay compliant? This is the kind of use case of this. So another prompt that you could do is past legal docs example. Here are a few examples of legal docs I've used or signed in the past. Study their structure and tone so you can recreate or improve them later. So this would just be really simple legal docs that you do, not big contracts. My business is an important one. My business is based in the UK. When suggesting contract clauses or terms, ensure they generally align with legal practices here. So you don't want to be getting legal advice from California if you're sitting over there in Australia. Contract red flags. I use this one all the time. So whenever I'm signing a contract, if I'm working with someone or whatever, here are some red flags I'm concerned about when reviewing contracts. Always alert me if these appear in agreements. Things like indemnity clauses, termination terms, IP transfer. I want to make sure that if I'm working with someone, they don't then own my IP after that. I want to make sure that anything that I put into that is mine and that I have full control over that. So it's really good to just add those contracts in and get that advice. And then here's how you can use your legal advisor. Simplify legal language. Can you break this down into plain English so that I know what I'm signing? That's a really important one. How many times do you look at something and you think, I don't even know what these words are. They use such fancy words. Draft a custom document. Write me a basic NDA or something like that based on the following. Review a contract for red flags. So you can put your contract through and say, tell me what I need to know. Is there anything that is a big risk for me? Create disclaimers and policies. Compare two contracts. So you might be looking at working with two different people. You could look at both the contracts and say which one is most aligned with my business and me and things that you know about me. And pre-legal checklist. I'm about to hire a contractor or a partner. What legal steps or agreements should I put in place first? So there's loads of stuff that you can do there. Okay, we are on to the final one, your virtual admin assistant. I said that when you come here and you're building your AI agents and everything like that, it's going to save you a lot of time. Now, this is going to have saved you a lot of time already, but this one is going to save you so much time. This is such a good one. I use this every day because these are all the boring admin bits that I don't want to do. And when I'm in my creative flow and I'm doing stuff over here, I don't want to be replying to Sally about something that I don't care about. I just want all of this stuff to be taken care of. So this virtual admin assistant does all of the stuff that I really don't want to do, and it takes a lot of my energy. There is actually a test, where you can, it's like a personality test, and you can see which tasks in your business give you energy and which ones drain you. And for me, all the kind of admin stuff like that, you've probably got that from me when I'm talking about spreadsheets and legal and how boring I find it all of that stuff drains a lot of my energy. So if I'm spending a lot of my time doing these things, then naturally by the end of the week I'm feeling completely drained. But if I'm spending more of my time doing the creative stuff, naturally by the end of the week I'm feeling very, very energized. So this is a really, really important one. So The master prompt here is: you are my full-time virtual assistant. Your job is to help me stay organised, manage tasks in time, and handle daily admin. You think ahead, offer reminders, summarise information, and keep my schedule and priorities clear. You specialise in calendar management and scheduling, inbox triage and email drafting, task tracking and reminders, meeting prep and summaries, admin tasks, so things like file sorting, SOP documentation and data entry, and personal productivity support. Your tone is friendly, efficient, proactive, and detail-oriented. So let's just create this. This is the last one that we're going to do manually, and then your team, your power team, is all set up. There are so many of these you can do. I hope this has given you ideas about other ones that you can use. So we've set up your virtual assistant. So how to train it better: weekly schedule and priorities. Each Monday, ask me for my top 3 priorities and any key meetings or deadlines. Use this to structure reminders and task suggestions. So this is good because not only are you going to be inputting stuff to this, it's going to start prompting you. So every Monday it's going to be asking you, what are your top 3 priorities? And it really makes you think. Okay, so I'm putting in my first prompt. Each Monday, ask me for my top 3 priorities. Got it? Each Monday, I'll prompt you for your top 3 priorities and any key meeting deadlines. Would you like to try out Daily Desk now? In the preview chat, I'm here for any tweaks or additions you'd like to make. So you can actually do this in real time. So if you want to try it out and give it a little bit of a test run, you can just ask anything in here, and then you can come back and say, I didn't really like the output. Can you do it in this way? And you can kind of give it some guidance. So you can keep training it as we go, like this. Calendar access. Here's how I like my calendar structured. Help me block time for deep work, calls, and breaks accordingly. You might say something like, no calls on a Friday, only video recording on Wednesdays. I want calls to start after 11 a.m. So this is where you can actually get a little bit of your boundaries in there. If you struggle with your boundaries and you kind of look at your calendar and you think, oh, there's stuff everywhere, and you're like task changing, that's never a really good place to be in. If you're doing creative stuff over here and then you task change and then you're doing emails and then you task change and then you're on a call, that is never going to be good for your energy levels. So if you can try and like block stuff together and you say on Tuesdays, that's when I'm recording. So your calendar preferences have been added, and I'll structure your schedule accordingly. You can now add in all of the other stuff. So here's how I handle my email inbox. You can add in your calendar, by the way. So you can actually look at your Google Calendar, for example, export it as a PDF, upload it and say, have a look at my calendar. What do you think of this? How could I use it better? Where is there space where I'm not using my time efficiently? Here's how I handle my email inbox. Draft responses in my tone, label, or tag messages, and help me prioritize urgent and low priority emails. And later on in another video, this is definitely too long to do now, but in another video, I'll show you how you can actually link up your email so that when your emails come in, we're going to use this to actually just craft that email straight away, and it's going to reply for you. So you don't actually have to be in there doing all of those emails yourself. But let's lay the groundwork for that now and start and putting that prompt in. And then after meetings, I'll share audios or notes, summarize them clearly, highlight key action items, and draft follow-up emails when needed. Okay, SOP documentation support. This is a really big one. If ever you are wanting to teach someone how to do something, so say if you're hiring someone and the control freak in you is like, oh, I just don't know if they're going to do it right. I've got my certain way of doing stuff and they're doing it wrong. Creating SOPs is a really important way to ensure that they are doing it exactly as you want it. So if you just literally bullet point all the steps that happen in all of these processes, you can start to get a big book of your SOPs. This is super important. If you are looking to build a business that you can sell, you need to have these SOPs in place, because someone looking to buy your business does not want to look at your business and think, if you remove all of these people, we have no idea what's going on. So everything is going to need to be documented and have SOPs and everything like that. You can then get that turned into a Google Doc, or ClickUp is what we use a lot in our business. To-do list management. Here's how I like my daily task list structured. Update it daily and remind me of unfinished tasks. So every day, instead of just writing in your notes, you could go into your admin and say, here are my tasks. This is what I need to do. And then you can tick off as you're doing it. And then it's going to keep reminding you, you need to do this, you need to do this. And you're going to say, oh, I like it in a time blocked schedule. I like to work with the urgency one first, the one that's most important. And then it can help guide you on all of that. And then personal life and admin. You can also support light personal admin like trip planning, gift ideas, or appointment reminders. Just keep everything well organized. So you can go in and say, I've got a wedding coming up in Wales. Can you give me some hotel ideas? And then it's going to come back with some hotel ideas. The way that ChatGPT is working now is that it's going to be much more like a Google search engine. So in the same way that we go and look for hotels or shops or clothes online, we do it in the exact same way with ChatGPT. So you can see here, that's all I asked, and it's come back with the top rated hotels there. So you can use this for all of this stuff. You don't need to be clicking out and going into Google. You can be doing it directly here in ChatGPT, which is super cool. And then here is some ideas of how you can use your virtual assistant. Plan my week based on these priorities. So if we go back and we look at our financial planner, said in order to hit your financial goals, you need to be focusing on this. You now have all of that knowledge. So you can now come into your virtual assistant GPT and say, this is what I need to be focusing on. Make sure I prioritize my tasks based around these goals. So you've now taken all of those agents and they're working together to now get the output that you want. So cool, this world that we live in. Here's a long email I received, summarize it and draft a response in my voice. This also works if I got an email and it pissed me off. The email annoyed me and I could feel myself like, I hope this finds you well. And I was giving it all like, bangy hands. And I was like, no, Carly, you shouldn't write this email. So then I put it through my GPT and I was like, can you respond to this? Acknowledge their concern, write politely, leave the door open for future contracts. If I had gone back, I would have been like, well, your mum. But, that was good. So I went back and I got a really good response. They came back, they were really happy with the response. So if ever you feel like you're a bit of an emotional hothead, I would use this. I feel overwhelmed. Can you help me break down today? I use this all the time. Whenever I feel like there is so much to do, I literally just brain dump everything down that I've got to do. And I say, I feel overwhelmed. Can you help me break this down today? This is the time that I've got. And it will break it down into loads of different bullet points and things like that. So anyway, you've got every single prompt that I've gone through. We've done a lot today. This is a beefy training. But I hope you can see now that you don't have to have a massive team yourself, and you don't need to do it all yourself either. The biggest gift I would say that AI agents has given me is that it's allowed me to get out of my head and just get back in the zone that I'm meant to be in, which for me is that creative zone. When I can stay in there and I know that all the finances and the legal and everything like that is taken care of and I'm working in the most efficient way, that's why I'm seeing so much growth in my business, is because I'm not fanning around doing all of this stuff that doesn't actually work with the way that my brain works. So that's it. You now know absolutely everything you need to know in order to build your full team of AI employees. We've covered a lot. I told you it was going to be a beefy training. We've gone through how to become a master prompter, not just a basic prompter that gets basic outputs, but someone that is really training something that they're going to be able to leverage for a long time. We also went through how to build your sales and marketing manager and how to train it so that you're getting really high converting sales pages and offers every single time. We've gone through how to create a content creator so that your social media can really pop and speak to exactly who you want it to speak to. We've gone through the financial advisor, and I've also given you my spreadsheet so that you can really get on top of your numbers. So we've also gone through the legal stuff. So if you want to make sure that you're being compliant and on top of all the legal side of things, that is all covered as well. And then lastly, we went through how to build your virtual team of assistants so that you don't need to be doing the emails anymore and all the admin stuff and all the dog work that you just don't really want to do. We covered all of that. Now, I've given you everything, but some of you may still be watching this and thinking, ooh, just still really want some help. And I totally get that. Sometimes it's really hard to go through a video like this and know how to implement it. That is a skill in its own right. So if that's you, if you feel like you still want a little bit more hand-holding, if you feel like you want a little bit more support, or if you feel like you want to take this further and you're like, boom, nailed it, I've got my AI team of employees, what's the next step? What else can I do? What else can I automate? Then I'm going to introduce you to my 10-day challenge. This is a 10-day AI and automation challenge. And over the course of the 10 days, we're going to be going deeper into what we've just covered here, but also even further stuff like how to turn this into an actual bot that you can plug into your social media or your WhatsApp, how to automate your onboarding client workflow, how to have reactivation email email campaigns that awake the dead email subscribers on your list. All of that stuff, there is so much in there. So if you feel like you want a little bit more and you're thinking you've started on this journey and now you're in, then below, if you scroll down to the description, there'll be a link somewhere down there. You can learn more about my AI challenge. And yeah, the most important thing here is that information is nothing. It means nothing. Implementation is what we need. So if you've watched this and you're now just going to shut your laptop and go off and not do anything about it, I urge you to take a look at it, because this is all about implementation. I want you to implement this in your business and start seeing the benefits of it, because when you do, you will have a completely different business and life, and everything will change for you. You'll suddenly feel so much lighter because you're not having to do all of these things and spin all of these plates all the time. So that's it. If you liked this video, then make sure you let me know below. Thank you so much. Bye.